Hi, I'm John Jensen, Chairman of the New York State Two-Cylinder Expo Association. We're here in beautiful Canandaigua, New York for Expo 7. We hope you have a great time. This year's featured tractor is the model AOS.
Expo 7, held July 7th, 8th, and 9th, 2005, was another very successful show. There were 859 registered exhibits this year, with plenty of John Deere tractors, implements for tractors and horses, and lawn and garden equipment. There were 17 model AOSs at the show. Our exhibitors expended hundreds of man-hours preparing their various exhibits for all the attendees to view.
This is the AOS, and it is the first version of the styled sheet metal on the John Deere tractors. And if we look over to the right, we'll see the 620 in the same version, and that is the last stylized sheet metal tractor that John Deere built. I'm Clem Demon from the Western New York Two-Cylinder Club, and I'd like to introduce you to Ron Jungmeyer. This is his AOS. The AOS is a featured tractor, and maybe, Ron, you could tell us a little bit about your particular tractor.
Well, this tractor originally come from Lockport, which is pretty close here, and it ended up in Ohio, and then I bought it there, and it ended up in Missouri for me, and I restored it a couple of years ago. Well, I done two of them together. I done this one in the customers. I'm in the restoration business. And we spent many hundreds of hours restoring them.
These are kind of unique. It's tough to get the sheet metal with all the correct bends in it, I imagine.
Well, yes, we bought the reproduction sheet metal from here, everything except for the citrus metal, and we had to do very extensive modification to make it work. Mm-hmm. And then we shop built the rest of it from photos.
Sure. Yeah,
it was very time consuming. Nothing fit the reproduction stuff. It was better than nothing.
Better than nothing.
But yes, it was highly modified. Yes.
Sure.
And the grill the same way. The grill was a very perfect reproduction, but they had made it too short on top, and we had to cut it off above the lettering and reform it. And it was just one thing after the other.
This is the operator's platform of the AOS, and this was used in orchards, and right. So the steering wheel and everything is down very low.
Yeah, low profile, yes. And it is not user friendly as far as leg room or getting on and off. It's a very tight fit.
Usually the clutch lever on the Deeres is a vertical one. This is down low so that it doesn't catch on branches and stuff like that. So They were a rather unique tractor.
In 1937, John Deere had an idea. They'd been building orchard tractors for a long time, and they came up with a styled orchard tractor, which is called an AOS. And styled is this fancy grill here. The hood is the same, but it has all these, they're called bat wings on here. It has this full citrus dress on here to protect the orchard trees from getting into the wheels. And since they have all this on here, you have to open half of the tractor or some of it to get in to start the tractor, which is, well, it's very good to protect the flywheel and the branches from the flywheel, but all the information's in here to start it with, the choke and everything, and you have to pull on this, and it's a little bit awkward compared to any other John Deere. And you will notice this is, we didn't mention, but this is a 33rd tractor built as an AOS, and it has round spoke front wheels, which is the correct thing. This tractor is actually a correct tractor. It was built, but we had to buy all the tin for it. Being the 33rd tractor built, the dash is different on it than the other tractors. The clutch is down here, which is maybe handy and maybe not so handy. You're sitting in this box here, but at least the branches aren't whacking you. You can kind of duck down behind the wheel as they come back over this hood that's with the bat wings and everything to come up over here. And other than that, it's very much like a John Deere.
I'm Kenny Reed, I'm from Richmond, Kansas, and we come back here to New York and brought a 1927 Corn Bore D. And the reason they called it a Corn Bore D, in 1926 there was a corn borer infestation in Michigan, Ohio, New York, and Indiana, and the government got involved in this, and they bought 1,350 tractors to help fight this corn borer. 440 of them was John Deere's. And the biggest option on these, they all had to have a power takeoff so they could pull a stock beater. And what amazed me about this tractor, in 1927 the government spent $10 million on this project. And they knew it wasn't going to control them, but they thought it would help fight them. And in this project they had stock beaters, plows, and tractors. And it's just opposite as what we know today. They wanted the people to burn the stalks and till the soil. As deeper they tilled it, the more they thought it would control the corn borer. So as we know today, the no-till, that wasn't what they were thinking back then. But we found the tractor come out of Montana. It was originally shipped new to Ohio, and we haven't found anything to prove this, but we think they were probably after the government got done with this project, they went out to the Indian reservations and the forestry department and stuff like that, and they used them to grade roads and stuff. In 1927, there was people getting their hands in the fan. So John Deere thought, well, we need to do something about this. So on March 10th of 1927, John Deere started painting the fans white. They'd done that for 40 days. On April the 20th, they said, why do we need 3 paints? We have green paint. We have yellow paint. So on April the 20th, they started painting the fans yellow. And they stayed yellow till about 46, and then they went back to green because they had more shrouds around the fan. So that's kind of unique. We think all the Corn Bore Ds were built in that time frame when they all had the white fan. One way you can distinct a Corn Bore D tractor, if the hood is readable, it'll have this U.S. Department of Agriculture Corn Bore Control, and the government give all these tractors a number. The number on this tractor was US 752. We could still read this number on the valve cover. They had this about 3 places on the tractor. They had it on the valve cover, 2 sides of the radiator, and that was a way that they kept track of which tractors were which and where they were located. This tractor was built in 27, the early part of 27, so it had the narrower fenders. Later 27s have the wider fenders. This has also got the 6.5-inch bore engine, so it's got the smaller engine in it. This was the PTO, and as you notice, even back in those days, they had a nice shield to keep people from getting in the power takeoff. And here was the horsepower. They were 15 on the drawbar, 27 on the PTO, and in 27 they still had the wood platform on it. This tractor is equipped with road bands, and the reason for that is so you can take it down the road and the lugs don't dig into the surface, and it's a lot smoother ride. These are called road bands. The European corn borer is what this tractor was designed for, and the European corn borer came in at about 1905, and it came in on some hurricane broom corn. That's how the larva got over here, that we have the European corn borer here in the United States today. It come from Europe.
Once again, daily parades attracted numerous participants. It gave the exhibitors a chance to introduce themselves to everyone and to show off their favorite tractors and equipment.
This is Lee Robichaud from Ashtabula, Ohio. Lee's been to every one of the expos right from the time we started, and he's a great supporter. He's got a beautiful 330. Thank you very much, Lee. Here's something else you don't see every day. You going to tell us why it's red? Speak right up.
I'm Keith Keister from Conneaut, Ohio. This is one of 4 330Us that were originally painted red. They were shipped to Geauga County in Ohio.
For a highway department? It was done that way for a highway department. I was told at one time John Deere would paint a tractor almost any color you wanted it. Am I correct? That's right. Thank you very much, David. Larry McMinn from Bridgeport, New York. You want to tell us anything about it, Larry? Tell us about the horses.
Well, they're a team I just acquired about 6 months ago. They used to be in the hitch team. They're a little bit lively, but they're coming. And Bob on the right, and Mo on the left.
Beautiful 530 here. I'll let him tell you about it.
Hi, my name is Dan Yeck. I'm from Ceresco, Michigan, and this is my wife Sandra right behind me, and these two 530s are consecutive serial numbers.
That makes them really special. They are gorgeous tractors. Thank you so much for bringing them up from Michigan. Beautiful 530s.
My name is Mark Redding. I'm from Burlington, Indiana. There was a bunch of us folks who come to your show. We really appreciate this type of show. So we brought about 14 pieces from Indiana. I really enjoy being here. So keep up the good work. Thank you.
Thank you very much for coming all the way out from Indiana. We appreciate your support.
I just want to say this is the first tractor I did. A little on the nutsy side, but this is the first time I'm getting involved with the tractor people. And all I got to say is you're a great bunch of people. I love you. Everybody has a good sense of humor and appreciates craftsmanship. And nobody throws rocks at me. So thank you. I appreciate it. Have a nice day, everybody.
Okay, are you coming back in 2 years with that age? All right. Thank you very much.
How you doing? I'm Mike Wetzel from Southdale, New York, and this is a 34 open span shaft A.
You notice he said that was an open fan shaft. If you look coming out of the governor, you can see the fan shaft turning.
There were 6 guest speakers at our show this year. Seminars were held each day at various times in the big tents on the grounds. These seemed to be very popular events, as evidenced by the number of people in attendance at each one. The speakers were Robert Beaver of Roberts Carburetor in Spencer, Iowa. Bob spoke on the theory of operation and shop hints on repairs of DLTX carburetors.
We've driven out here to the New York show to visit with the people and bring our goods out here and do some seminars for the people. And we deal in carburetors for the John Deere tractors and magnetos, and we did a seminar to show how the carburetors work and how to repair them, and we have all of our parts here. And been a wonderful show here at New York, and we've had a little bit of water, but it goes away and comes back, but we've been able to work around it. So we're real happy, and it's just been a great show, and looking forward to be back again someday.
Albert Ulrich of Renaissance Tractor in Chehalis, Washington. Albert spoke about a number of items pertaining to the John Deere diesel tractors, including rebuilding, common parts between the engines, inherent problems, pony motors, and design changes throughout production.
We work on John Deere tractors of all types, shapes, so forth, predominantly in the two-cylinder diesel area. And we've been invited to come back here for the last couple of years with the group of John Jensen and his gang. And we enjoyed our stay and enjoyed talking with the people and sharing some information with them. And we've had a lot of fun.
John T. Nordoff, technical writer for Green Magazine and an electrical engineer from Bloomington, Indiana. John spoke on the theory of operation and troubleshooting batteries, starters, and generators, and on theory of operation and troubleshooting battery-powered coil ignition systems. Brian Holtz, John Deere Collector Center, Moline, Illinois. Brian spoke about the Collector Center operations and the John Deere company's involvement.
I've been invited out here this weekend to partake in the Two-Cylinder Expo out here in New York State, and it's just a fantastic place, a wonderful place to be. Been giving a couple seminars here this weekend and got one coming up, so I'm really looking forward to chatting with all the people and seeing what their comments and questions are and taking it all back to Moline.
Greg Stephen, the Old Tractor Company in Franktown, Colorado. Greg is a dealer in Colorado who specializes in NOS, new old stock, and reproduction tractor parts.
This show kind of has a special place in my heart because for many years I'd quit attending shows. I've been in the hobby about 25 years, and I got invited to this show, and it was like coming home again. It's friendly, the people are having the right attitude about it. It's a hobby, and we're all having a really good time, and they're more than helpful, although a lot of hard work has been done to put the show on. I did a couple seminars this year, and I tried to hopefully instill a sense of the boundaries of the hobby that are constantly expanding. It's not just two-cylinder tractors anymore. It's lawn and garden tractors, snowmobiles, bicycles, new generation, and implements. And as far as I'm concerned, I'll keep coming back every year they'll have me.
Stan Barnes, lawn and garden enthusiast from Vernon, Connecticut. Stan spoke on the increasing interest in collecting and restoring John Deere lawn and garden tractors and equipment.
I'm a member of the John Deere Lawn Tractor Restoration Club and involved with the Weekend Freedom Machines website. And we're here with some of our club members as well as a lot of guests with John Deere Lawn and Garden tractors. Our display here, tractors starting from some rare 1963 tractors that are very few around the country. You can see up the line there's one that's white with blue. That's one of the patio tractors. We have a number of attachments and have a good representation here of a variety of machines made by John Deere from the 60s through the middle 70s. An example of some of the rare attachments here is this, which happens to be mine. This is a Sweepster transporter body on a 1965 John Deere 110, one of about 7 that we know to exist in the country. And again, an example of some of the attachments that you see on the lawn and garden tractors.
Thursday night's auction started at 4 and lasted until 9:30 p.m. An excellent selection of tractors, implements, literature, and toys were sold.
Okay, Stanley. Ready at 25 to start. 25 out of the line. The first walking ball, give me 25 out of the line. 25, give me $10. 15 now, where line, here now, 15 and 20 down below, 20 down middle line, here now, 5 out of the line. $10 where about 10 more, give me that, 10, give me that, 10 now, 15 now, below, 15 now, 20, 25, 40 down below, 40 down below, 20. Sold to you, $35 full.
Hi, I'm Spence Conklin. I'm a blacksmith from Bath, New York. I'm here at the Expo today to kind of demonstrate blacksmithing, which is what John Deere did in life. People didn't know he was a blacksmith. When one day he was in a saw shop, saw a shiny saw blade. He took that blade and hammered it into a plow, and he made a plow that the mud wouldn't stick to, which made part of the West able to be farmed, and also turned John Deere into a worldwide name, known everywhere. I'm making here a tomahawk head, and in its previous life it was a railroad spike, but I kind of believe in recycling, so anytime you can make something out of nothing, I think you're doing a good thing. This gentleman is Mark Kellogg. He's a blacksmith from Connecticut. So he's going right there. He's still at what you call black heat, around 500 or 600 degrees. and it'll melt the bristles off that brush right onto the steel. That highlights it and looks real good. He just wandered by today and decided we'd have a little playing together here, so we're out here playing and lying to each other and having a good time. We're making a few things to give away to the people and try to show them how things were done 100 or so years ago.
I'm Mark Wilbur. I'm up here at Expo 7 here in Canandaigua with my son Scott and my dad Dick. We're set up here with a hammer mill and number 4B sheller and a Let's burr mill. We just found the sheller and the hammer mill here in the last year or so. Of course, the 4B, there's never been any shows where there's been any shellers in operation, so I thought we'd put something together and come to Expo with it. The whole corn is in the wagon. You just shovel that off and into the 4B sheller. That takes the corn from the cob and separates the two. When it separates the corn, there's a blower on the sheller. It comes up and comes into our little bin there, and we can feed the Let's burr mill, or we can feed the number 10A John Deere hammer mill, and it grinds the corn into meal, and it's ready for feed or mixing rations with it, and that's the purpose of this process.
I don't know if my arm's long enough.
Thank you. My name is Moses Dupree. This is my father's 1957 520. It's got long axles and long axle housings, offset cast centers, 42-inch rubber, and a single front wheel. It was originally shipped to California, and with this setup, it probably spent its whole life cultivating bedded crops out there. So we got this about 3 years ago, took it all apart, painted up, and that'd be Dad's doing. So, well, we got to rack the wheels into, even in their farthest settings, it's still pretty tight on the trailer. So this is being exhibited by Lee Dupree, so you can find him around afterwards if you want to talk to him.
Thank you so much for bringing that out. This is an 80-20. It was John Deere's first attempt at a four-wheel drive. They made it out of components, GM engine, Clark axles, Clark transmission. They only made 100 of them. They still know of about 65 still in existence. This one belongs to Tommy and Farms in Ferguson's Corners. He lets me drive it once every 2 years for him. Guess that's about all I got to say about it. Thank you very much, Dan. I'm going to turn it over to Bruce Morris, the Vice Chairman of the Expo Association, so maybe I can parade.
Serial number 223803. This is the first production big board GP to come off the assembly line. Thank you.
Thank you, Eric. You don't see many of these lawn tractors. It's a little different.
The 73 140. We put the pusher on it, roll cage, turn signals, four-way flashers, almost ride it on the road. Do a little bit of pulling with it when we get a chance. Not a lot of places are letting us pull yet. Thank you.
Thank you very much for coming. There's all kinds of lawn tractors on display down here towards the middle of the showground. The air conditioning is over his head and the wheels on it will shake you. Nice little bee here.
A 38B shipped from Syracuse to Corfu, New York. It's been in Corfu since 1938. The guy was a tractor dealer there out of a barn. And I bought it off of a lady. She was going to restore it, but I ended up doing it.
Thank you, Bob. Nice looking piece. Now we have the streamlined AOS. This is our show tractor. There's several of them around here.
Most of them are real nice looking tractors.
Good morning. I'm from Oakville, Connecticut. The tractor was shipped to Top Bottom, Pennsylvania, and it was sold to an orchard in New Preston, Connecticut in 1956, and I bought it 8 years ago. Thank you.
You're very welcome.
This is a 1941 VI, equipped with a sidewalk snowplow. It has a side power takeoff that used to run a broom. Had a V plow in the cab, but that stuff is all gone. It's got a unique pulley cover on this one here. Thank you.
Now look at this thing. This is something you don't see every day.
My name's John Craig, and I'm from Mentone, Indiana. And behind me is a John Deere 840 with a 400 John Deere self-elevating scraper. I purchased this unit in 1996. It had not run for 6 years. It was setting out in a field. Since that point in time, we've went clear through it. It's been a ground-up, total restoration. We have used it to dig a pond, play with it. As far as the unit itself, this one was built in 1960. It's one of the last 300 built because it does have the 1,000 RPM power shafts. As you notice, it is called an 840. It's the industrial version of the Ag 830. It is a side wheeler, and the reason for that is because of the gooseneck for the self-elevating pan on it. Sheet metal is different than the Ag, but as far as the basic tractor components, they are all very similar. On the pan itself being a 400, the difference between it and the Hancocks is the flights. They're a curved flight instead of a straight flight. It's very simple to run. It takes about 45 seconds to load 7.5 yards of dirt in average conditions. As you look down in there, you'll see the one large diameter cylinder. That's the one that pushes the floor back and forth to dump the dirt off. The two horizontal smaller cylinders are used to push the back wall forwards to shove the dirt off the remaining floor that's left in there when you're dumping it. The two small cylinders that push the back wall forwards, the back wall is what the flag is mounted to, and that's the part that moves forwards to finish shoving the dirt out of it as you're emptying the scraper. As we're looking at the front of the unit here, we see the chain. The paddles I had to build, there was none available. I was lucky enough to find the chain and sprockets in the state of Georgia at a chain conveyor company. The cutting edge is all new. That's still available through Deere. On the unit itself, all the hydraulic lines, all the cylinders, hydraulic hoses are all new. All had to be made. There was none available through Deere. The unit itself weighs in at about 24,000 pounds total weight. The unit took 20 gallons of paint, which was blended by DuPont in order to come up with a correct yellow for the time era. As far as time, there was about 2 years in the mechanical end of it, and it took about 8 months of doing the sheet metal and the actual painting and detailing of the unit. As far as actual cost that I have in it, I have a drawer at home with all the bills, but I've never totaled them, and I probably won't because I don't know that I want to know what I have in it.
This is Harvey Onk. He's from Sherman, New York.
No, Clymer, New York.
Clymer. Ah, you're right.
Yes, I got interested in industrial stuff, and a friend of mine, Bruce Morris, found this for me and brought it home, and it needed a whole new motor and transmission and all of the seals and gaskets in the rear end, so we had it all apart. And the only thing I didn't have to do was the hydraulic pump and the winches, which pleased me to no end. It was a 1959. It was used to lay gas pipelines in ditches after they weld them together. the boom will fold in half because they couldn't transport it. The first ones were 10-foot booms. Of course, you got it on the truck and it was too high, so then John Deere went and hinged the joint up there. So it will fold right up so you can transport it. One other unique thing in the hood on the 440 on this one is split. If you notice right in front here, you can take the hood off so you can work on the motor. Otherwise, you'd have to take the thing all apart. So,
How much will this lift, Harvey?
I think it's like 3,000 pounds tight to the tractor, and then the further you go out, the less it can lift. So I've never lifted anything other than a 4-inch PVC black pipe, but it was fun. On the opposite side of the tractor, there's a counterweight. That weighs 600 pounds. So when they're using the other side, they lower it out, which it is right now. And then I presume the blade up front, if they wanted to, they can push it in, push your ditches back in again. So very good.
Thanks, Harvey.
Thank you.
Thank you. The tractor behind me is a 1974 John Deere 6030. It was a basket case. John Schroeder family, John and his sons restored it. It was a complete restoration of it. The engine, transmission has been entirely rebuilt in it, and it is, I think, a spectacular looking tractor.
One of the highlights for the children was the pedal tractor pulls on Friday and Saturday. The kids really get a big kick out of this event. Classes divided by age are great to watch as the kids and adults cheer on their favorite pullers.
She's one of those John Jensen fan club children. Logan Adams, you'll be next. We'll add a weight. Here comes the sun.
Keep going. Come on. Come on. Nice.
He ran out of power.
One of the things that is of interest with these tractors is to see what they work like when they're under load. It's hard to do in a parade to get any kind of load on the tractor and actually hear the governor work. A dynamometer test of a Model R John Deere. What is done here is there's a hydraulic pump which is hooked up to the rear of the tractor, the power takeoff unit, and it allows us to put a hydraulic load on the tractor and simulate what goes on. If you look on the console, it will show the horsepower that the tractor is generating and simulates it working in a field just as it would if you were on the machine operating it. They can vary the thing, and it's a way of testing the performance of the tractor and also simulating what it would sound like if you were actually operating the tractor in the field. Get the tractor loaded down now, and it's performing at its rated horsepower. And you can see this is a diesel tractor, and the more load you put it on, the more smoke you're going to get out of the exhaust from it.
my name is Bill Graves, and I from up in central New York. I'm the operator of the Shingle Mill, and today we're sawing native hemlock for shingles, which is makes a pretty good shingle for siding. We have a old Ireland mill, roughly in the late 1800s or 1900, and it's an automatic feed mill. That's automatic tilt on the block, so one time you get the thick on the bottom, and the next time it goes by the saw, the thick will be on the top and the thin will be on the bottom. It eliminates doing that all by handwork. It's done automatically. And then we have the trimmer for edging the shingles, and then we have the bundler for bundling the shingles, all made by the same company. A complete outfit. This is powered today by a John Deere 50 tractor, and years ago it probably could have been powered with an antique steam engine or a gas engine of some description. And but today we're using a John Deere 50 on it.
I think he ran out of power. I think he's going to run out of phone power.
I'm Kent Castor from Shelbyville, Indiana. We've been here to every expo that they've had here. And I own K&K Antique Tractors, which we ship parts for John Deere tractors all over the world as far as that goes. And this is one of our better two-cylinder expo shows that I've ever been to. We wouldn't miss it for anything in the world as far as that goes. The people here are really nice to work with. They treat you right, and we just have a good time here. But we sell licensed products for John Deere. We got decals and stuff like that, and about anything you need, we can fix you up with. Just always hunt us up, give us a call, or see us at a show.
We're Ron and Sue Kennedy. We have the Sign Man of Ohio. We're from Central Ohio, and we make the tractor signs and name badges. And we love to come to Canandaigua. This is our third trip here, and we're glad to be here.
My name is Carl Ritter, and I'm from Marathon, New York, and I'm here to bring a tractor. I brought a tractor display over, and it's anywhere from the early 20s up to the 50s, the tractor display. The last 3 times I've been here to the show, but it's the first time I ever had a display on. Enjoying the show very much. I enjoy it a lot. Yeah, it's the best show ever.
Hi, I'm Ken Fredericks from Kenzel Toys. We sell farm toys, and we're at the New York two-cylinder show, and we're having a pretty good time, pretty good show.
I'm Jim Garino of Agri Services. We make wiring harnesses for vintage farm tractors all the way up to the newer ones, 6030 is the newest John Deere we do. And we stock all the original type switches for most of the tractors, different brands. And we have battery cables, spark plug wires, just like the original ones, or cloth, or rubber, whatever they had. Special make custom applications for people if you have alternators or high performance ignitions or pulling tractors. We do it all.
I'm Bob Warner from Montrose, Pennsylvania, and these are my 2 Waterloo Boy tractors. And this is a 1920 model N 2-speed Waterloo Boy tractor. And this is a 1916 model R Waterloo Boy tractor, which is a single speed. The most important features of this tractor, which is a 1916 model R Waterloo Boy, would be this is our starting gas tank for the kerosene engine, which is right here, which is a 1224. This is the shifting lever. If you push it forward, it has 1 speed forward, and backwards has 1 speed in reverse. Very slow, may I add. And it has a foot clutch, which is probably surprising to everybody, but John Deere started out with a foot clutch. Of course, it was a Waterloo Boy, but they bought Waterloo Boy. And all the gears are underneath this cover here. Another feature of this Model R is the way it's driven. As you can see, that's an internal ring gear that's driven by an external sprocket on this tractor. Now, if we're going to turn to a 1920 Model N Waterloo Boy, and as you see, it's driven just the opposite on this tractor, a very subtle difference, and it also has a mud guard on the bottom, which the Model R does not have. Now we're going to show you a few differences on the Model N. First of all, it has 2 forward speeds and 1 reverse, which is all encased in this huge case up here by the flywheel. The tank has changed from square to round. It no longer has a foot clutch. It has the famous John Deere hand clutch, which I will show you right here. And you push it ahead to put it in gear just like any 2-cylinder John Deere. And that was all made in the 4-year period between 1916 and 1920. Otherwise, basically, it's pretty much the same. The radiator's a little bigger. It has 1 more horse in the engine. But those are the basic differences. But those are quite a lot of differences in 4 years, in 1916 to 1920. This is a Model R radiator, which is a little smaller than the Model N. The R fuel tank is just a flat tank comparatively to the N is a little different. Basically the axles are the same, and all the front work here is the same on these 2 tractors. And as you will notice, this radiator is quite a lot larger than the other one. The fuel tank is a little different, but the front end's the same, the frame, and this is the huge transmission we pointed at from the back of the tractor. And now, for everybody's interest, we'd like to show you how to start a Waterloo Boy tractor. You have to get up on the tractor and turn the fuel on, both from the front tank and the carburetor. You have to open the priming petcocks so you can get some gas down the cylinder, set the magneto for advance, and then you need a gas can. And I'm sure this is not what they had in 1920, but this works very well for us to put fuel into the cylinders of this tractor. And then hopefully we're going to get the chairman to turn the crank and we're going to have a tractor run.
Okay.
Ready?
Ready?
Then you have to set the petcock. That's in low gear, and it's showing you all how it works. Steers relatively easily. A lot of it turns to the wheel to get it to go. And then you just take it, pull the clutch, and there we are.
Again, the barrel roll was a popular event. The object is to be the fastest one to roll the barrel from one end to the other without going outside of the lines.
He won the barrel roll last year and also, or 2 years ago, and also the Shingle Mill.
Yeah, I'm Bob Olson from Ransomville, New York, and I belong to the Western New York two-cylinder club, and I had won the barrel race in 10 seconds and something, and I can't remember what the hundreds were, and enjoyed it, appreciated it, and had a good time.
Well, folks, there it is. It's exciting, isn't it? Hope I got enough numbers on my stopwatch.
It takes a well-tuned engine that idles real slow to win the slow race. The object is to be the slowest person to the other end of the line.
Put your plugs in it from the last time? Yeah, I don't know. I'm just blowing up.
This gonna be a photo finish?
Everything further sign under. Oh, that one there, just give my hand.
I'm Dave Hammond from West Salem, Ohio. This is my 620. I bought it 2.5 years ago. I have done nothing with it. And then this is my second slow race championship here at New York. It's been a lot of fun. This is a fun show.
Well, it's a 1966 John Deere 110. My name is Drew Hess. I'm from Mount Vernon, Ohio. I'm 16. I just bought it a couple of days ago, so.
You're the winner. What do you think about that?
Happy.
Tim Cronow from Troy, New York. I think it's a fantastic show. Green is keen, and this is something that's the most John Deere's I've ever seen in a local show, and it's just impressive. I can't see enough of it.
Hi, my name's Betty Garrich, and we're from Bath, New York. This is my husband, Norm. This is the 7th show we've been at. We've been to every one. Presently we have a John Deere L here. Do you want to tell them how many tractors you have?
Just 20. I'm Ray Butel. I am one of the carburetor mechanics that are renowned in the John Deere area, and a few other things, and we're enjoying the show here today. If you get a chance, come to one of these, you'll enjoy it.
We're Bob and Bev Turner, and we're from Oxford, Michigan. Came over just to see what your show was like. We've been to Iowa in the past, so enjoying it very much. This is our 3rd day.
Joe and Connie Engel from Williamsport, Pennsylvania. We have
6 two-cylinder John Deere tractor myself. We don't have the show. It came up every 2 years.
I'm Jason Yorks from Jersey Shore, Pennsylvania. Just coming up to enjoy the show. So having a wonderful time.
I'm Henry L. Zenka. I live in West Henrietta, New York, and I've brought a tractor to the show and a horse-drawn mower. And it's a good show. I like it.
I'm Al Hain from Greece, New York, and this is the official Expo toy that we've done for Expo 7. It's the 7th one in a series, and it's a 1940 Ford panel with the logo on it that advertises Expo 7 and a picture of the AOS, which is a featured tractor for this year.
Jim and Shannon Jones from Oriskany Falls, New York. This is our second time up here, and we're pulling in the 55 and 6500 stock class.
I'm Paul Wortman from Watchingtown, Pennsylvania. That's Center, Pennsylvania. I brought with me a 1948M, and I'll be pulling that in the 3,500 pound class.
The tractor pullers were sorely disappointed since rain came down in the afternoon both Friday and Saturday, causing the pulls to be canceled. This year we raffled off a 1938 John Deere unstyled B tractor, nicely restored. The proud winner was Bud Stratman of Cheektowaga, New York. The only sad point in the whole show is when it has to end. We've renewed old friendships, visited with people we haven't seen in a couple of years, and made new friends along the way. This hobby has brought so many people together who might not have ever met if it wasn't for their mutual interest and love for the antique tractors. All of us here in the Expo Association value those friendships and look forward to seeing everyone again at our next show.
Well, that's it for Expo 7. We hope you come back and see us for Expo 8. The dates are July 12th, 13th, and 14th, 2007, back here in Canandaigua, New York, where the feature tractor is the Model H.